Ryan Williams is an All-American, and he'll be getting the passes next year from a new quarterback, Ty Simpson, most likely. We're going to talk about what he brings to the table. Carson Beck, since the last time we got together, really did transfer. You were right, and I was wrong. I think it's kind of a theme now after the way that the college football playoff picks went. But we'll get into that and more right here on your favorite show, mine, and your favorite Open and Mine. It's time for Elephant in the Room. Roll Tide. Let's go. All right, we're back. There he is, Jake Coker, the national championship winning quarterback 9 years ago, man. Sunday. I can't believe I put a picture up with Barron and Mike sitting in the stands. Our friend Ron getting pounded by those guys with their big hands every time you guys scored. I can't believe it's been 9 years.
I know. Man, a lot's changed since then. No NIL 9 years ago. I know that.
That would have been a life. It would have been a different life for you had they had NIL.
Yeah. Yes, it would. Oh, yeah. Let's move on to the next topic.
Man, I tell you what, like that was still one of my favorite games of all time, just because I had such a great experience in Phoenix. I know you did too. Obviously, yours was playing. Mine was drinking beer and hanging out. John Cougar played the little pregame thing. I remember hanging out with Barron out there watching John Cougar Mellencamp play. Like the Phoenix was so warm. It's a really cool place. I've always liked Phoenix. The game was thrilling. You and what was the quarterback? The guy that's on the Browns that just got hurt again. Clemson's quarterback.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Yeah, both of you guys had great games. It really was perfect, man. And
I had a buddy of mine send me one of those Instagram posts or maybe as a Twitter post, I don't know, but showed a lot of the highlights throughout that game, more highlights than usual, than just the touchdowns, and I texted back, I was like, man, I'm exhausted from just watching that, just from reliving it. I mean, you talk about a dogfight. And again, I've said it on this show before, but I don't think there was one single team we played all year that you knew hadn't quit by the end, or at least you could tell they were starting to lay down. And that was the only team that, I mean, if there's another, quarter or two, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight for another 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a hell of a game, man.
I mean, nobody was quitting. There was no.
It's a really good game. It's one of the best. And then Derrick Henry, still in the NFL, still maybe the best running back in football. He looked awesome in the game against the Steelers. How about that stiff arm that he gave Minka? That was kind of whew.
Yeah, I missed that, but I got to go back and catch it.
Yeah, he's still going strong, man. I mean, and you played with him. I sat next to him on a plane back from Vegas. But we're tight.
Yeah, well, he's like, I mean, he's like the NFL running back version of Joe Rogan. I mean, just endless funds to take care of the temple, except I don't think he's got the same drug or alcohol habits that Joe Rogan has.
Yeah, right. He really is redefining the running back position, because it used to be where guys would run, and get years and years, like Emmitt Smith and Tony Dorsett and Herschel Walker and Walter Payton. I mean, great running backs didn't just last 4 or 5 years. They lasted for a while, and then it got to the point where like these guys would just be like come and go, and he's still amazing.
Well, a power back too. A power back. I mean, not just he's not a guy who dances around, avoids contact. I mean, his nose is in it every single play. I mean, running over you or through you.
Yeah.
And that's, to be able to do that for 9 years plus what he did in college, I mean, no telling what kind of injuries he's battled. Just complete and total focus on and off the field. I mean, he was working out after practice at Alabama. I mean, the guy
Really?
was a machine. Yeah.
Wow.
Just, I mean, doing heavy squats after he just got done, you know, running full on live practices for however many periods, 2.5 hours we'd be out there. Worked out in the morning as well. I mean,
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
Heisman Trophy winner, and he's the most dangerous man in the NFL right now, and so are the Ravens. I mean, when you put him and Lamar Jackson together, it's a totally different style of offense than you see on any other team in the NFL because both of those guys are so dynamic. So they play the Bills Sunday night. I'll be pulling for the Ravens. I hope they win, but Marlon Humphrey's on that team, and there's a bunch of Bama guys still remaining in this NFL playoff.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, guys that have been up there for 6, 8, 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to me how long everybody's stuck around. I mean, D linemen too. Think about it. I think Ashawn Robinson's still playing. Jonathan Allen's still up there. I mean, those guys have been playing for 8 years, and that's not a people. I know Coach Saban. He talks about how guys say his program's too rough, and the guys' bodies aren't taken care of. There's a lot of wear and tear, but man, you look at the best players; they're still around 8, 10 years later.
Yeah, it really is something, man, just to see what those guys have been able to accomplish, and hopefully
Well, I think I think guys thought they worked hard coming into college. Thought they had a good high school workout program, a good off season program, and then you get to Alabama, and I mean it's all out intensity the entire time, and I think that's where a lot of these guys, including myself, learn what a work ethic is. I mean, again, it's just full on 100% effort all the time, mentally, physically, everything.
Do you watch the NFL because you're friends with some of these guys, you played with some of these guys, or is that does it matter to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch when my buddies are playing. I'm not as big into the NFL as I am college. I think it's because I really enjoyed my time in college, and I've got a connection, to Florida State and Alabama. But I mean, NFL, I got a connection to those guys I played with, so that's my main reason for watching. But I lost interest in the NFL. I mean, I just never had I pulled for the Saints, when I was little, but then kind of grew out of that. And there's not a whole lot of the Saints are it in Mobile. I mean, that's the closest thing, and I enjoyed watching them, but I was nowhere near as passionate about the NFL as college.
Yeah, well, the playoffs are going on right now, and I mean, I'm a Ravens fan, so I watch the Ravens. But yeah, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pulling for the Ravens because mainly the guys on that team that I played with.
Yeah, two of your best teammates. I mean, just as far as I don't mean like best friends, but I mean just best players on the team. I mean, you look at it, and it's amazing, and not to say that the other guys weren't great too, but I mean, like Marlon Humphrey and Derrick Henry. I mean, you're talking about two guys that are going to go down in Alabama football lore.
Oh, all timers.
Yeah,
all timers. First team, all existence.
Yep. No. Hanging out with us, Elephant in the Room, brought to you by MyBookie. Use that promo code next round, mybookie.ag, and you'll be able to double your initial deposit when you get to that sports book. And, pro football playoffs, the college football championship game coming. There's a lot of other stuff going on as well. And we got you covered, mybookie.ag. Jake Coker and Mick Gillispie here talking Alabama like we do on our show. Try to do it twice a week, today and Thursday. Let's talk about a first-team freshman All-American and a guy who came from Saraland down in the Mobile area, and that's Ryan Williams. The Football Writers Association of America selected him as part of the all-freshman All-American team that was announced today. How cool is that, man? I mean, like, to think that, that this guy was supposed to be in high school, and now he's a freshman All-American. I mean, he's been, he had a special season, and he's poised to continue that. And what as a former quarterback, I mean, what would it have been like for you to throw passes to somebody like that?
I mean, I would say I got to throw some passes to some guys that were pretty good. I mean, I think he's really, really talented. I think this year, the one weakness was really just strength. I mean, the guy's 17. Man, when he gets a few years in the weight room, he's going to be an absolute animal. And you saw it this year was explosiveness, getting separation, making those big plays. But I look forward to seeing him, not being able to be physical against DBs, not get pushed around, within the route tree, make plays over the middle of the field or wherever, just in traffic, be able to dominate his space. I think, again, being 17, I think I was like 6'4", 205, or no, 6'4", 190
Mhm.
when I was 17. Ended up playing at Alabama at 6'5", 240. By the time I was done. So, I mean, when he is able to run routes physically and really direct the defense rather than be manipulated by defenders, I think he's going to be just unbelievable. Just rounding out the rest of his game. Again, I don't know if I'm sure there's been 17-year-olds at Alabama before, but
Yeah.
you've never heard them talked about like Ryan Williams, and that's because when you watch him play, he doesn't have a weakness. I mean, the only weakness you could possibly give him is his youth and his size right now. And with that, he's still able to be an All-American. Imagine when he's completely filled out and physically dominant. Not so much just ball seeking, but pushing people around and making plays. No matter what route you call, no matter what play you call.
Like, Ty Simpson and you are going to have a similar type of game. Both of you guys can throw the ball. Both of you guys can run a little bit. He's a big guy. You're a big guy. When you look at having a target like this, you're seeing somebody that's special. What do you see at the quarterback spot when you're trying to get him the ball? Like when you're kind of just back there and everything's flashing around. Like, what's it like? Like, explain it to us, just from people that, not most of us, I'd say the overwhelming majority, are never going to be in a pocket, like, or you're just trying to throw a football. What's it look like? What's it feel like when you're back in the pocket and you have something? What's Ty Simpson going to go through?
I think you're trying to figure out what the defense is doing. When you get the look you want, where you're going with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And, once you hit that last step in your drop, you're kind of seeing where their pivot point is, or if they're hitting their landmark, and then you just give them air to go get it, because they're going to separate. And, a lot of times you're on the ground, you never see the ball caught. I mean, a lot of times you're hit before, as soon as the ball leaves your hand. So, I mean, with a 3-step hitch ball, and, for instance, guy runs a post, and you got quarters, and that safety takes the option route inside, and that you got a corner and Ryan Williams in a 1-on-1, and he's running a post. I mean, you take that 3 steps, the hitch, as soon as he sticks his foot in the ground, to hit his angle, ball's up, and you got to put enough air on it so he can just adjust to it. That's what I feel like a lot of guys, especially when they're young out of high school, I'm one of them. You hold on to the ball, and you don't put as much air on it. You just stick it on them a lot of times, or don't put as much air as you need to. But you have to get the ball out early, and you've got guys that are so athletic and so fast that you got to have, in order to get the ball out early without knowing exactly where he's going to be, you got to put air on it just enough to where he catches it in stride, but he can hit the right angle. He can adjust to it, and he's created enough separation between him and whoever's guarding him that you don't have to worry about it as much. But that to me, that's the key. And the thing you got to learn when you're playing quarterback is that you got to have the touch to get the ball out to where you're not getting sacked, not creating fumbles. Get the ball out and allow your receivers to adjust to it. And that's the key for all these guys. I mean, are they going to run their routes crisp enough to be where they need, close enough to where they need to be, to where you can put just enough air on it where it's not going to get intercepted and they can make a play? And Ryan Williams gives you that. I mean, you can have, people say there's perfect balls. I mean, to me, it's really, it's touch and distance. That's what makes it perfect. But you've still got, with really good receivers, you've got, 4 to 5 feet to work with, as long as they can be athletic enough to make the adjustment.
Right.
And that's what he gives you, I mean, very rarely is a ball just right on target. I mean, the receiver makes it look good most of the time, Yeah. Like throwing it in a bucket, you very rarely see a quarterback do that. I mean, it's very hard to do. It's all about just the distance and air you get on the ball and the touch you get on it. What makes it look perfect is those receivers adjusting to it.
Right, going out there and making plays. So if you had advice for it, like a Ty Simpson, like stuff.
I'll give you an example. So when we played Arkansas, I threw a deep ball to Calvin. It was a play Coach Lane had come up with it, like Monday, and that was my favorite play of the week. And it was an inside double move. That safety was really jumping those seam routes, and we had run them. Lane had set it up all game. I mean, set it up. So I give the play action fake, turn around. I see that safety. He's standing there flat-footed. I mean, basically flat-footed. And I give a little pump, and that safety, just a hair of movement forward. And I knew. I mean, right then I was like, oh, just get it up there, make it to where he can catch it. He's going to be wide open, And as soon as I saw him tilt his head, I just put as much air on it as I could and threw it far enough to where he couldn't recover and make a play. And it almost hit him in stride. It might have been a little short, which I don't mind because overthrowing a ball like that is the worst when he's wide open. But yeah, I mean, you basically try to find. I mean, the guy he could beat that safety in a race head to head, straight line. But that one quick movement and he gains a step on him, and he's faster than him. That's what gives you the ability to just launch it up there with air and let him adjust, catch it, touchdown.
Yeah.
And he's, even if you underthrow him a little bit, he's going to catch it, get his speed back, outrun everybody, touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference. Instead of throwing it to a guy who beats the safety on a double move, but you may underthrow it a little bit to get him to catch it. He catches it, then he gets caught on the 25-yard line. That ain't happening with Ryan Williams or Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, right. They're going to make moves, and yeah. What's interesting, man, I think we don't really talk a lot of the technical stuff at the quarterback spot, and I'm thinking that, for Ty Simpson, it's all about him kind of stepping up now and taking over as the leader of the team. And and that kind of brings me to the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I got to give you credit, is that I thought for sure that Carson Beck wasn't going to transfer. I thought it was just a ploy to get some money, maybe, for the NFL, like draft status, like, hey, like I'm going to stay and go somewhere else. But he seriously took $4 million to go play at Miami. And I just remember you and I kind of talking about the possibility of this. And there's so much more to that position than just, the fact that you're going to take the snaps and throw the football. I mean, everybody looks to you. when you're the starting quarterback, especially somebody that's just respected as much as he is and has been there for such a long time. And it really, when you see guys like that selling out, I mean, it really does kind of put all of this in perspective to me. And I don't think it's a good thing.
Well, that's the first one that I feel like I've looked at and been like, man, that is complete business right there. I mean, there's no emotional attachment. There's no allegiance. I mean, it's all about top dollar, and this is where we are. I mean, you know, I had a conversation with somebody the other day about when I was coming out of Florida State. You know, what would I have done?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, honestly, you know, I'm just making up numbers here, but you know, I still can't imagine going anywhere else but Alabama, and taking less to go to Alabama. I don't know. It just it means, well, you know, Carson Beck's also from Florida. I mean, he's from Jacksonville. I don't know if he's a Miami fan, grew up a Miami fan or what. So it would be tough to, if he really wanted to go to Miami his whole life, and Georgia was just a better fit. And
yeah,
he finally has an opportunity to finish his career at Miami and make a lot of money while doing it. I mean, that would be pretty cool. But I don't know, having the starting position, given the backing that Kirby's given him
mm-hmm.
Throughout the year. I mean, you saw his locker room speeches supporting Carson Beck. It'd be hard for me to walk away from a coach in a program that gave you that kind of backing. Of course, I say that. I'm sure I know he's on social media a lot. I'm sure he's seen a lot of that stuff that comes with the territory from a lot of Georgia fans. But do you know what kind of money he made?
I think it's like $4 million, which is more than a lot of players in the NFL. It's more, once you get past what is it, like the first 10 or 15 picks, nobody makes that kind of money. I'm going to Google it while you're talking, like what the money is in the NFL draft, because I saw like second round and stuff. He's making way more money than.
Oh, I bet into the first round he might be making more. I mean, that $4 million came out of the Miami collective.
I guess, yeah. I mean, and
then that's not counting the whatever else he's making, probably more greater than $500,000 from sponsorships and whatever
I don't
else
know.
he's doing.
They just said $4 million is what I saw. That's the number I saw.
God, I don't know, man. On one hand, it's hard to say. You know, it's hard to. I can't imagine leaving a place like that. Man, $4 million for a kid that's 22 years old. I mean, you know, you handle that the right way. You know, don't live beyond your means. That's a hell of a head start.
So this tells me, right, and I don't know if this is right, but the site I'm looking at is saying that the 15th pick in the draft doesn't even make that in the first round. Can this be right? Well, like the first pick's like $8 million.
Is that salary and signing bonus?
It says rookie cap numbers. It's like $8 million for the first pick, you know, and then it kind of goes down, and by the time you get
the first pick, I think signing bonus is like $24 million.
Is it? Oh yeah, maybe that's. I don't know. You would know more about this stuff than me, but
I think that's what it was in 2014, 2015. It's probably gone up since then.
So by the time you get, okay, and then I see what you're saying. Yeah. So with the signing bonus, okay, yeah. So you still make more than that, but it's still, wow. It's not that much worse.
Well, I mean, nothing's guaranteed. You know, I mean, it'd be hard for me to leave college if somebody offered me $4 million to play another year, and I've got the potential to up my draft stock and make more as I move forward. I mean, making $4 million in AAA ain't too bad.
Would you, if you had, like, say there was some rule and then you could go back and play one more year, could you do it? Could you physically get yourself ready to go back and play one more year? If, say, like, just, you know how, like, Diego Pavia, like, it got the extra year, like, if that's something like that happened, could you, at this point, right where you are right now, if you started right now, could you be ready by the time that, camp started?
Yeah, if I could find somebody dumb enough to pay me $4 million to go 0-12, that'd be I mean, it'd look a lot different now. That's for sure. Be running out of bounds, and I said I didn't
You're not
believe in.
trucking to anybody.
Yeah, I said I didn't believe in sliding, man. I'd have some grass stains on my ass.
That's just funny when you think about Derrick Henry just, like, still just housing people, like, he's such a specimen, man, like, just relentless worker,
Oh yeah, 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 man. I could play, but I couldn't. It wouldn't be good.
Well, that's where we are right now. Monday's national championship game. We'll talk about that next show. But it's fun to get together, and just kind of look at where things are right now. I do, before we get off here, do want to talk a little bit of basketball. The bracketology came out. Bama's a number 1 seed. If it ended now, I mean, we still got a long way to go. A very tough SEC schedule, but they went on the road and they took care of Texas A&M. They've got Ole Miss tonight. They got Kentucky coming up on Saturday. These are some really tough games, but this team and the bench and the way that they're playing, I mean, they're super confident. They're really a good team.
Man, I heard Brian Pasek say, what was it, the 2022 team? Was that the Brandon Miller team?
Yes.
I mean, I believe I heard this correctly. He thinks that this team is better than that team, and not necessarily, not necessarily that the top of the roster is better, but uniformly across the board, everybody is really good, and we have size. And again, we don't have a Brandon Miller, but we got a ton of those, top echelon guys that from 1 to 10. I mean, and we got size. That's the thing. That's the thing about watching us over the last 5 years. I mean, Nate Oates has completely changed. It's crazy what he's done in such a short period of time, and I guess you have a little bit more ability to do that nowadays. But even with that, I think what he's built he's the best basketball hire, maybe the best hire in the history of hires. When you consider we went to Buffalo, everybody's questioning, like, who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this dude?
And then all of a sudden, I mean, it's like Nate Naismith. I mean, he's got it figured out.
Right.
And I remember watching 3-4 years ago. You felt like, and if we don't hit threes, we're gonna lose. We just can't be consistent. And now, I mean, we can. If we shoot great, we're probably gonna win by 40. If we shoot bad, we're probably gonna win by 5 or 10. I mean, even on off nights, the chances of winning are really, really high. And I don't know. He's just built a team that can be consistent in the tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we played all that great against A&M, and still went into the 10th team in the country's house and beat them.
Yeah.
Grinded it out.
That's crazy to think about too.
It's like overnight. Overnight we're expected to beat all these teams. I mean, just the expectation is just taking a 180. I mean, I remember watching, again, before Nate Oates got there, you just hoped we'd beat Ole Miss or, And Mississippi State was always a 50-50 game. I mean, now we go out there, you watch a game, you expect to win every one of them.
Yeah, that is crazy, man.
I love it. I'm here for it, man. I love it when we're good at basketball.
I know, me too. I'm getting pumped, man. Like this game tonight, I can't wait to watch it. The one on Saturday, I can't wait to watch that. Like I'm thinking that you and me need to go to a game.
I'd love to. We need to.
We need to go.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to go to that Auburn game.
Yeah, we need, because they're fun, man. And then the fact that people are showing up and they're getting into it now. And I've never been a Coleman Coliseum fan, but you know what? When you bring a lot of energy, it can be a fun arena. It's just big, but you know what? Whatever, man. I mean, what Nate Oates is going to prove is that you can win a national championship in that arena. And that would be something I never would have thought could possibly happen. All right, guys, that does it for the show today. Again, we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use that promo code NEXTROUND to double your initial deposit. We appreciate them so much. And like and subscribe to the channel. Be a part of what we're doing here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Check us out, covercrimson.com as well. So for Jake Coker, I'm Mick Gillispie. We will talk to you guys coming up again Thursday or before. But thank you. And again,